what's going on with this program? Where do they stand? What's your assessment of Norvell's job in his second season? You know, it's very similar to when Miami's been, and I don't know that they have not been this low
No.
that Florida State is since we've been doing this show, nor really at any time since the ascendance way back around 1980. You know, to regress this much when you know you're in a state just with wall-to-wall football players where even if you are getting the second and third tier, you should be better or as good at least as the Louisvilles and Wake Forest of the world and are not. What's your assessment of where they stand?
Number one, they play too many away games in recruiting. They tried to overshoot their status, even as a national team, as a super national brand. So I'm not saying that they're not a national brand, but when what's his face, Jimbo was there, they really took a focus away from South Florida, away from, you know, the North Florida, South Georgia area, because South Georgia is Florida State territory. Like I just saw there's a Miami fan who goes to every away game at Florida State. And he's like, I stay in this town in Georgia. Thomasville, something like that. He's like, I stay at this little town in Georgia every year. I get my hotel up there. And, you know, so he's going to go see Miami's quarterback commit play in the playoffs for Valdosta up the road about 45 minutes. But that's all Florida State territory, right? So instead of leveraging that, they started kind of shooting for the stars and kind of, and I mean, well, wow, that was a double entendre, but I mean, literally and figuratively, you know, for the top of the recruiting ranking guys. And a lot of them from a lot of different places were not going to come here, you know, or go there. You know what I mean? So that's where it starts for me. And then, yeah, they just really kind of oversold their position, you know, and I've talked about the decline of Clemson, even though they're not as low as Florida State at all. But it's the same thing that went through Florida State. You had generational talent at running back. You had a generational talent at quarterback, you know, and they came together with a very good coach and a solid roster across the board. But then, you know, a guy gets injured here. This, you know, high-end recruit that you expect to be something either doesn't come to Florida State, or the one who does, it does not end up being what you thought he would be. And it can be quick, you know, and they've really just not been good either. You know, they hopped off before I could make fun of them for that Jacksonville State game, you know, but, you know, you got a coach who's out here lying about, oh, we were in too high, you know, Shelton. No, you weren't. You tried to play robber because you thought they were going to try to throw to the sticks. And then the guy was open on the third down, and, you know, you threw the ball out of bounds, but you dress up that same scheme because you're like, oh, they're playing robber. We're going to do that again and score and win, and did. You know what I mean? But you got things like that, and you just got, you know, it gets to a point where I think the Florida State thought because they wore the garnet and gold that they were going to run out there and beat teams. And I think that's the same thing you saw from Florida in their 2, 4, and 8 seasons, where just the, you know, orange and blue of the University of Florida and that Gator, we're going to just go over here and we're going to chomp people. And you got guys who, you know, teams who are ready for any opportunity, right? And we've seen this with Miami too. Miami is not infallible on this. But again, this is what I'm talking about from the Georgia Tech game. You let a team like this hang around. That Jacksonville State game was what, 21-20 or 24-23-20, something like that? It wasn't a high-scoring game, right? So Florida State let them hang around, and then you get one vertical concept against what should be covered too, but you try to be slick and play robber, and that 3 verts on the field side turns into a game-losing touchdown for you. You know what I mean? And you just have a lot of guys who are not what you thought they were going to be. You miss on your evaluations. You just go in some different places. I mean, it starts with the roster building. It really does. And, you know, I know that they want to say, well, Jimbo quit on them and blah, 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 blah. Look, that can be true or that can be false. But you still have had multiple other recruiting classes and have not brought in Florida State caliber guys. And then you're trying to make non-Florida State caliber guys into Florida State, you know, through the 80s and 90s, where every year for 27 years they were ranked top 5 postseason. You know what I mean? They're not those guys. Then you have guys like Cam Akers, number 3 overall recruit, number 1 running back, everything. I can still pull up the tweets today. And Florida State fans were hella lying. And I told them they were lying, even with the name Cam, even wanting Cam Akers on my team, right? Saying, oh, better than Dalvin right now in high school. Literally, go look it up. Go search Twitter. If you put Cam Akers better, right? They said that he was better as a high school senior at that current moment than Dalvin Cook was in college. Junior year, I'm about to leave and get drafted first round, Dalvin Cook. First of all, you're lying. I said it then that they were lying. And then Cam Akers was fine. He was a fine college player. You know, wasn't a super duper duper star, wasn't, you know, Travis Etienne, Dalvin Cook, Reggie Bush. He wasn't the super duper star, but he was fine. But you didn't bring him in here to be fine. You brought him in here to be the evolutionary upgrade from Dalvin Cook. This is what I'm talking about with the quarterbacks at Clemson. Everyone you brought in leveled up that position. And Florida State thought that, okay, Dalvin raised the bar for Florida State running backs. Now we're getting, and he was a 4-star, you know, top 75, top 60, or top 50, I want to say top 50, player in the country. You know, I thought that Joe Yearby was a better running back coming out of high school. Dalvin Cook was a more explosive player, but he needed to get the traits of vision and patience to really unlock his potential. He got there to Florida State and like day 2 unlocked all of those, and then we saw what we saw. But I'm not wrong for thinking that Dalvin Cook was a better pure running back coming out of high school. Many people thought that. You can go look it up. Trust me, I'm right. But Dalvin raised the bar for running backs there, right? As a 4-star top 50 recruit in the country. Then you get 5-star number 1 running back, number 3 overall Cam Akers, and you think, cool, the bar got raised here. Now we're going to take another evolutionary leap up. And Cam Akers was not that. And in several other places and several other players, you try to have that same progression of recruiting great over great and time over time and things like that. And it just simply wasn't. And even if you're okay, that's fine. But we didn't plan on you being okay. We planned on you being evolutionary, transformational. And that didn't happen. And in so many areas. And then they just obviously have not really been very good at quarterback. And a lot of those things where you are deficient in some areas on the roster can get overcome when you have a good quarterback. You had a great quarterback. You had a legendary quarterback in Jameis Winston. Legendary college quarterback. You haven't had anything. I mean, when was the last time that they had a league average quarterback since Jameis?
DeAndre Francois would be the last quarterback that I thought was a good quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, and he's real B-flat basic. Hornibrook did his best work at Wisconsin for sure. You know what I mean? Mackenzie Milton as, you know, a bionic
James
leg.
Blackman. Yeah.
Blackman, you know, was a recruit that Miami, I thought, could have gone after as a developmental guy. And I wrote it, you know, in my recruit profile for him. If you looked at James Blackman in pieces, you could have had a 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, or 5-star. If you're looking at build, if you're looking at experience, if you're looking at vision, if you're looking at that arm, you could literally rank him if you're looking singular trait-wise at multiple different things, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Easy to see. That arm was the 5-star thing, though, because that man could sling the ball. Oh, buddy. But ends up being, you know, below, I mean, what, the baseball term, value over replacement player, the VORP. He was a negative VORP. He's not even a replacement level, you know, basic, you know, average kind of quarterback. Mackenzie Milton with the bionic leg, he's nowhere near the player that he was. Now, if you had UCF pre-injury Milton, oh, buddy, cancel Christmas. That's a problem. But unfortunately for him, he had that catastrophic injury. Yep. He's not that guy anymore. You know, Jordan Travis, I know that, you know, Jason and Logan were saying, hey, you know, it's better for them that Travis is playing this week than not. And I agree. But is he transformational compared to Mackenzie Milton? No. Is he better than Milton? Absolutely. Are they going to try to really, really lean into the things he does well and hope that some of the things that he doesn't do well, he does better against Miami than he's ever done, i.e. throw the ball down the field, i.e. fit the ball into windows, i.e. you know, creating things in the passing game and elevating the running game as well? Yes, because that set of things happening is how they can win. by having all of those things be elevated to a level that we've not seen. But no, he's not transformational in terms of him versus Milton. Is it better? Yes. Is it that much better? No. You know what I mean? But across the board for Florida State, they've had some average play from guys that they've really looked to be those program foundational kind of guys, especially on defense. Oh my God, they've missed on so many dudes on defense and over the course of time. And I think that that's really where it's been. And again, yeah, it's very similar, even though it's different positions, but it's very similar to the early part of the decline of Clemson that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, Jordan Travis, when I watched him throw the ball last year, I could not believe that I was watching a starting quarterback at Florida State. I was thinking he's a running back playing quarterback. He just does not have the passing skills. I'm not going to break it down. I will just say the overall passing skills. Now, I will say that he's improved considerably as a thrower of the football. They have worked with him. I think it's pretty obvious, but he's never going to have that natural arm talent of a top-level quarterback.
No, I mean, he won't. And for Miami, we need to take away the other things to try to make him do that. You know what I mean? But he will never be just like, he's not a Van Dyke who's a natural thrower of the ball. You can just see it. Like, cool. Like, yeah, I can run a little bit. And like, because Van Dyke is more athletic than people give him credit for. But like, no, I'm not here to do these other things. Like, give me the ball and I will throw it and it will be great. And Jordan Travis is never going to be that. So